Tech Yeah Podcast.
That's pretty good. All right, we're recording. We're live for episode. What episode is it?
16?
Is it 16?
I think it's 16 because my mom has now found out what a podcast is.
Mm-hmm.
So she's gone back and listened to almost every episode and text me today when episode 16 is coming up.
Speaking of your mom, we've been talking, and I got a message from her here that we'll read when we get to the mailbag, to the Tech Yeah mailbag. We can talk about it.
Frickin' Maria.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty
excited.
excited.
On the treadmill, on the elliptical, whatever she's doing, listening to podcasts. Amazed. She's like, she can't believe what a podcast is. Like and Julia just recently went through this thing where I downloaded whatever podcast app. I'm pretty sure it's just the Apple podcast app.
Mm-hmm.
And she had no idea what a podcast was. And I downloaded this app. I downloaded, of course, our podcast. And she just went searching. I go, just like look for whatever you want. Like all you got to do is just type in anything. So she's into running. And she's got these couple of running podcasts. And she's completely addicted to them.
It's amazed me as anybody in the world that doesn't love podcasts. Like they're so good.
Yeah, I think it's you either love podcasts or you don't know they exist.
Yeah, and it's because it's like you just don't realize that there's one for every. Like there's not even one. There's 100 for everything, right? So like no matter what you're into, there's like a great a podcast for you. You know,
it's amazing. It's super crazy. I've listened to, while listening to podcasts, some takes on what makes podcasting so interesting and how unique it is in our, like the timeline of information sharing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really crazy to think the capacity of our brains where, we once thought that literature, like really deep, big, complicated, hard to read literature was kind of like the peak of our understanding. And still most people have a really hard time following some of those old books that are written kind of weird and just very long and elaborate literature. And then you've got this like slow degradation of the complexity of, whether it's books and then radio comes out and then TV and, 10-minute videos on YouTube, and it just kind of keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And then this podcast phenomenon takes off, and now you can sit and listen to a 3-hour podcast on model trains or something.
How'd you know I'm a big train podcaster?
Dude, I can tell, dude. You look. Yeah, I bet you look amazing in a conductor's hat.
Oh, you would. I have a couple, and I look amazing in all of them. I'll tell you that. So, how's your week been, Bill? Like, what's happened to you since we last checked in?
Well, I had just got that iPad that I was telling you about with that app for flight.
Oh yeah, your what do they call it? Your flight satchel, or what do they call it?
Flight electronic flight bag.
Yeah, your flight satchel.
Yeah, so I like that electronic flight satchel.
I didn't know. I forgot what it was called. So I'm glad I got that close.
Actually, really close. So I did a couple of streams. I was able to connect it to the simulator and practice with it on the simulator in a safe environment where I don't really have to look outside of the airplane. I can just play with the app as I'm flying, and it connects as if it's a real plane.
Mm-hmm. And
in fact, the app thinks it's a real plane because it will log the flight as if it happened.
That's pretty cool.
I went up. Yeah, it's really, really cool. So I went up with a friend last night. We did John Wayne to Ontario, which is like a 15-minute flight, and then did a couple of touch and goes at Ontario and came back. And it was the first time taking the app in the air, and it was freaking awesome.
That sounds fun. That sounds pretty neat that you could like do it on, like on your online system and have it all integrate like real life. Like,
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Practice. Yeah, in a safe environment. I mean, I would say it's even more game-changing than the health watches, like Fitbits and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Where once you wear those and go for a run and go, oh my god, look at all the information that you can get from it. It's the same kind of like, oh my god, look at everything I have now at my disposal, kind of reaction. But I think even more so because you've got the navigation and the safety side of it. So very, very impressed.
That sounds cool.
Yeah.
What else? Anything else fun this weekend?
Not really. No, we just took down all the Christmas decorations and
that's a sad time.
cleaned up. Feel nice, like Sunday night, everything's clean, house is clean, everything's put away, garage is reorganized, candles on, making some pizza.
I feel like this is the first weekend of officially like the holidays are over. You know what I mean? Like
it's the best feeling.
It's 2019 time. Let's move past this fun and games of the holiday season and let's get with it,
It's amazing. I love it. It's a great feeling.
Yeah, it's a good time. It's a good time of year.
How's your week been?
Pretty good. Kind of normal stuff. Work's still been very busy, even coming out of the holidays. But it's always weird, like the beginning of the year. Everyone's kind of doing their assessments for last year and doing a bunch of reporting, and there's all this like, what are we gonna do this year up in the air still. So it's weird, but it's fun in a way. You know what I mean? Like. There's a lot of planning going on. It's kind of the planning mode. I feel like is the fun part of marketing. So that part's not so bad. But and this weekend I've been doing nothing but playing Escape from Tarkov. Have you seen that game?
No.
It's a Russian game. It's like it's not really like it's a shooter. It's first person, and you basically go into these maps, and you have like a character. And anytime you die, you drop all your stuff. Right? So you have like a little box of stuff you can take with you. But you basically like plan these runs, right? Where like you don't take anything too expensive. You go out and you basically try and like there will be like non-player enemies scattered around the map, but also like players can go on the map as their main character, or they can control like NPCs, right? They call them scavs. They're like non-RPG players. It's kind of weird, hard to describe. But so the point is to go out and like just take a pistol and go out there and kill somebody and steal all their armor and steal all their guns, and then find an evac and bring the stuff out so you can like equip it on your dude on subsequent runs. And so you kind of build this like armory of like, okay, like now I got a collection of like these guns that I like, and this body armor that I like, and helmets, and like, and then you can kind of go out and try and like accomplish different tasks and stuff when you're like all kind of ready for war, and it's fun,
Is
man.
It in Russian?
It's in English. I mean, there's a lot of Russian in it, but there's an English client. And it's really fun. Like, it definitely brings that level of tension that, like, PUBG does, where you hear some footsteps and you can't really tell where they are, but they're really close. And
it's the best part of PUBG.
Yeah, you're trying to watch everywhere. It feels like this feels like that in small, like smaller things, so they happen more. That happens all the time when you're in this game, right? Like,
okay.
Especially when like shit, like I brought like an AK-47 out here, like that's an expensive gun. I can't afford to die like this. And someone like hit you in the leg with a shotgun and your leg is like dead, right? And so you can only like limp. And so you're just like limping and bleeding and trying to get to an evac. And it's like, I don't think I'm going to make it. Like, I'm just bleeding too much. And then you just like kill some other guy and he had like bandages and painkillers on him, and you're like, fine, like freedom, like I can make it. It's incredible. It feels really good.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's a fun game. So I've been doing that like nonstop this weekend. It's been like my whole weekend, and I went and bought a Gundam. But so just hanging out, having a good time, having a nice single guy weekend.
You're such a hardcore gamer.
I am kind of a hardcore gamer. What were we saying on Friday? That yeah, you were saying I was a gamer or whatever. Although I did kill him on Friday, so it felt pretty good. It felt pretty good.
Oh my god, that game was Call of Duty 4 Zombies.
Yeah, Call of Duty 4 Zombies.
Not a fan of it, dude.
I don't like it either. So I never play zombies. That was the first.
Make stuff too cute.
It is, and it's too like. It's too supernatural in a way. Like it's almost, it's a little too much. But I don't like it either.
Yeah, I think the first one was World at War.
Yeah, it was World at War.
I think that was the Nazi zombies was the first time they did that game mode. And I loved it. I freaking loved it. It was simple. It was like nerve-wracking, fast-paced. And when you start having to like up the ante every time for sales numbers to keep, everybody engaged, it turns into a mess sometimes.
Yeah, it's too complex for me. I have no interest in that zombies mode, but it was fun on Friday. I did good.
Yeah, you did.
I finally felt like I was like, because Mike always wins at the stupid games we play, because we always play like whatever
games that he's practiced on a million times.
Maybe not even practiced a million times, but it's always like he chooses some like indie game that's couch co-op that I have no idea. I have no idea what we're doing, and and he play, even if he doesn't own it, he played it like twice before we got down there. So like he still knows how to play better than we do, and so it gets so disheartening to be like, man, I always lose. But so it felt good.
I bet you, if he doesn't play them, he at least watches them like gameplay videos.
I'm sure he does.
Minimum.
He always knows the buttons, but it's always like 2 hours, like an hour in, we're about to close up. He's like, oh, you just got to press this button. And you're like, what? Like, why have you not told me that?
Yeah, what are you throwing? Oh, those are mines.
What a scumbag. What a scumbag. All right. It's time for emails. We're way too loose today. I think it's because it's like late and we're at home. I got to keep us on track because we're making podcasts here.
Love it. Okay.
Man, all right.
Fine.
All right. You ready for the mailbag?
Mailbag. Tech yeah, mailbag. Tech yeah, mailbag.
I can actually play like some drops or something since we're at home, but
we just did.
Yeah, that's true. That was a good drop. This is from Maria Forelli.
Oh, that's a.
I know.
Recognize that name.
You know what's funny? Like, because I get all these emails on my phone, like all the techie ass stuff is just like logged in on my phone. Like I don't have it logged in anywhere else.
Yeah.
And so I just like pick up my phone and it's just like message from Maria Forelli and I'm like, what is going on? Like what I know that name. Like who's that? Oh, that's Bill's mom. Like what is happening?
Oh my god, that's awesome.
Yeah, but it's great. So she sent us an email. You can send emails to us at techyeahpodcast@gmail.com and we'll read it. I promise.
Whatever it is, we'll read any and all emails sent to us.
We love the input, so send us an email. We'll be happy to read it. But Maria Forelli says, okay, the subject is Baby Boomer Needs Help. Hi, boys. Love listening. I've learned so much. I'm a baby boomer that is actually afraid of tech stuff. Oh, I know the feeling, so don't worry, Maria. I've recently purchased a Samsung 9 from Verizon and cannot figure out how to get rid of the advertisements that pop up. Where can a scared old lady of techie stuff find the answer? Thank you. All right. So, Bill, do you have any suggestions? Because I know you are a member of the Samsung Galaxy.
Yeah.
What's it, the Note 9 family?
She's referring to the S9.
The S9.
She has a Galaxy S9, and I have actually seen this issue live in person. And I think she was reaching out to the Tech Yeah mailbag at techyeahpodcast@gmail.com because I was unable to solve the problem.
Doesn't she know that that the mail goes to you again? But actually, I looked up the problem.
Okay. And it's on the lock screen that she's getting the ads come up.
So it's going to be some kind of application issue, right? So that's really where it's going to get mucky. And I'm sorry, Maria, because I know that this is exactly not the answer you want. But it's going to take some tooling around, right? Because it's probably an app that's been installed that, has some kind of weird advertising, tool in it, right? And that's pushing those ads to you. So the reality is, you got to go back and you got to see, like, what's doing this. My suggestion would be to make sure and test what's going on is boot that thing into safe mode and see what happens. See if the ads are gone. So that's going to tell you, like, okay, it's an application doing it. And to boot into safe mode, you're going to long press the power button, and it's going to turn into a safe mode button. You just tap that button and it'll reboot. And I think if you do that, see where you're at, see what happens when you boot out of safe mode into normal again, give it a try. And if it's fine in safe mode and is not, the ads all come back, you got to start deleting apps, stuff that you've installed, and hopefully one will clear it up. But that's all I got.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I found as well. I don't know if we did the reboot thing, so that's a good suggestion.
Because a lot of what I found was people uninstalled the app that was causing the issue. But, like, it never, until they booted into safe mode and rebooted it again, it never, like, unhooked. You know what I mean? So it kept pushing the ads until they did, like, a safe boot cycle. So,
okay,
it's worth a shot. That's what I got for you, Maria. Hopefully it helps. And, helps or not, I really appreciate the email into techyeahpodcast@gmail.com. That's huge. It's so huge.
Cool.
All right, and I got another email. I forgot to read this one because we missed a day around the holidays, but we can answer it now. And this is from Alec AMX, and he said,
frequent
correspondent, A+ fan, wants to know: do we have any cool, interesting traditions for Christmas and or New Year's? Bill, do you have any traditions for the holidays you like to do?
I do. I like to make, on Christmas Eve, bacala. And it is salt-cured cod. It's an Italian, traditional Italian meal. And I make it in, I guess you'd call it like a poor Sicilian style meal. So it's basically like a fish soup with tomato sauce and tomatoes, potatoes, garlic, onion, and the salt cured cod. So I make that every Christmas Eve. It takes about altogether like 3 or 4 days to make because you have to let the fish soak in water.
In like a brine, or like
you just leave it on the counter in like submerged in water, and it draws all the salt out of it. So you have to like rinse out the water, put new water in a couple times a day, and it takes all the salt because it's just covered in salt.
Sounds disgusting.
It's delicious. I freaking love it.
Sounds real gross. As for me, I usually go home for Christmas, so that's back down to San Diego, and I wouldn't say I have any traditions, but like it's kind of one of the few times a year my brothers are around, and my next oldest brother usually spends Christmas Eve with me at my sister's house, and so we usually end up playing video games like the old days together on Christmas Eve. That's kind of a thing I think that kind of traditionally happens. So this year was Smash Brothers. It's always something silly, and now that my nephew's kind of getting older and has video games, like sometimes we play his stuff, but it's a fun time where we get together and get to play some video games, or at least talk games.
That's cool.
And yeah, we do that every year. It's kind of like bro down time on Christmas Eve, so it's pretty fun. But yeah,
I like that.
Alec, thank you very much for emailing techyeahpodcast@gmail.com. We really appreciate it, and like we said, we will read your email, so send us one, because we'd love to hear from you.
No matter what it is.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You can CC us on emails that you're sending other people.
We'll read them.
We'll read them out loud. Yeah. It could be like,
doesn't matter.
You could be complaining about like Amazon customer service or something. We'll jump in there.
Absolutely. That's one of our favorite topics.
That's one of our favorite topics. Okay. So
digging on Amazon, we're that's our specialty.
Speaking of digging on Amazon, my news story today is not about Amazon, but it's about someone else we dig on professionally. It's about Apple, and this is from CNBC last week.
Apple, you bastards! So
the headline of the story is Apple just lost a Facebook. Market value declines since peak exceeds value of nearly any U.S. company. All right. And so what's going on? In 3 months, Apple has lost $452 billion in market capitalization, including tens of billions. Yeah, including tens of billions on Thursday alone, as they sank more, as their stock sank further. Apple shares have fallen
$452 billion.
$billion. Apple shares have fallen by 39.1% since October 3rd, when the stock hit a 52-week high of $233.47 a share, with its market cap down about $674 billion. Those losses are larger than individual value of 496 members of the S&P 500, including Facebook and JP Morgan. Microsoft, Amazon, Alphabet, and Berkshire Hathaway are the only S&P 500 members with larger market caps than Apple's loss since its recent high. To put the Apple market value plunge in context, $446 billion is more than double the size of Wells Fargo, more than 3 times the size of McDonald's, more than 5 times the size of Costco, and 10 times the size of Raytheon. Apple gave a sudden warning to investors on Wednesday afternoon, lowering its fiscal first quarter revenue guidance. Wall Street reacted with one analyst saying this will represent Apple's biggest miss in years, and another saying the company's announcements raises more questions than answers. Apple CEO Tim Cook's letter to investors blamed a variety of factors for the guidance cut, including declining iPhone revenue and China's weakening economy. Apple stock closed Thursday trading down 10% at a 142.19 a share. So 233 is their high, 142 is their new low.
Good God.
Yeah, Apple fucking up. Like, that whole story is just, man, Apple is fucking up.
Oh. Okay, so I just bought my first Apple product since, like, personally,
That was a
since
mistake.
probably that video iPod.
You made a mistake.
And it was that iPad mini. And as much as I love the app that I got the iPad for, dude, that OS is maddening.
Yeah, I'm with you there. It is kind of crazy. And, you know, like I said, I think we've talked about the Apple quite a bit. And I think we both have had a not for us, but we like the devices kind of attitude towards it. You know, like, we can appreciate the craftsmanship into it.
Yeah, no, that's perfectly good. It's just not for us.
Yeah, but
obviously we see the appeal.
It's not for a lot of people right now.
Yeah. I mean, do you think that's really? I mean, Tim Cook blames the declining iPhone revenue. I mean, if you just take that in a vacuum, you know, they've lost market share. The sense that I get is that people are starting to realize that there's other options out there.
Yeah, and I think you know, Chinese phone companies, at least as far as the Asian market, are scooping up a lot of that with their premium handsets. You know, they're making much better, like, they're making much more affordable premium handsets in Asia than the iPhone, that I think are starting to have as much appeal in Asia as the iPhone does. I think the iPhone got even too commonplace in Asian markets. You know, like, it lost its luster as like a premium piece. And I'll say even in the United States, like, it's definitely not cool to have an iPhone anymore. Like, you know, I think people might be like, it's kind of expected in some social circles, but it's definitely not like a status symbol like it once was, you know?
Yeah, I agree. It's so common that it's just kind of turned into a, you know, like, you're a hipster if you don't have an iPhone.
Yeah, like, you're weird for not having one, right? Which I don't think is the image that drives demand. You know what I mean? Like, I think that kind of that premium, this is what you need to aspire to kind of mentality is really what kind of drove the fervor for iPhones. And as they're just more of a commonplace, you know, like, it's like toilet paper, right? Like, you know, like, if everyone has it, there's nothing sexy about it. You know, it's just like, yeah, we got it in our house. You know what I mean, kind of thing.
Yeah, and
And
they tried to sell it. I mean, all the ads, even the new ads. There was one that played today when we were watching one of the football games, and it was the guys in the colored jumpsuits running around,
mhm.
and we were both looking at this ad, going like, "What the hell is this?" And it was like weird and quirky, and had funky music, and it's artsy. And Julia's like, "Man, it's got to be some kind of technology. It's got to be a phone, right?" And I go, "Yeah, it's got to be an iPhone." And sure enough, it was an iPhone.
Mhm.
So they're still trying to hammer in that like quirky, artistic, unique, uh, like
Yeah, we're for
persona.
artists and creators, and
Yeah,
yeah,
if you're
no,
into like weird, different music, and you're a painter or you're a writer, you're unique.
mhm.
You should have an iPhone. And like you said, there's nothing unique about iPhones anymore.
Well, it's like, yeah, if it's like that kind of hot topic effect, right? It's like this. You can only like push counterculture so far when it's like the most popular thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
like
It just becomes mainstream.
it's mainstream. You know, like you can only get so big while claiming to be the other guy. You know, and I think once you kind of hit that saturation point, you either have to embrace it, or I think as Apple's doing, like you kind of just lose that motivation for people to be hungry for it. You know, when you're just another phone now, then other phones in the market start to become just as appealing, right? Like when there's nothing special about it, then you really realize like, oh, like this, this Huawei Mate 10 is like, it's gonna last me 50% longer because the battery's huge. And,
Yeah,
I
you can
kind of
replace
like,
the battery.
yeah, and I like having a headphone jack, or you know what I mean, like
Yeah.
whatever the thing is.
Yeah.
Um, those become selling points now, and like yeah, I don't think Apple's done a great job kind of with the Chinese market, right? I think that from someone that sees a lot of people that come back and forth from China and Taiwan, I think there was a time when iPhones were very much like the device to have, especially as like an international traveler. And I think now, like most of those people I see carry Huawei phones or Xiaomi phones, like Chinese made phones or Korean phones, right? Or Samsungs. So it's not it's just not that era anymore where like they're just the it thing to have. But these numbers are they've lost are just staggering. Like just this amount of market capital is it's insane to think uh how much devaluation that is. Like
It's insane.
it's
Yeah,
insane.
and I also I read somewhere that Tim Cook was talking about kind of the outlook, and that what was the number, like 350 million? That can't be right. There was some, whatever the number was, like they were projecting how many iPhone users are in their upgrade window,
Hmm.
and trying to project, you know,
Oh
future
yeah.
revenue and
Hmm.
stuff. And you're just like, dude, that if I was Tim Cook, I would be scared shitless over that amount of your business up for grabs.
Hmm.
I mean, that's why they spend so much money on advertising, because you know there's so many people that are in the market for a phone at any given time.
Well, I think they really price people out of their upgrades. Like I think there was a time when we had like that was always the thing. Like you got the free phone, right? Like
Yeah.
the the old. I don't know if this is like old man talk now because it seems so recent. But the old scam was you didn't pay for phones, right? You just paid your cell contract, but that was always you know $100 a month anyways, right? Like, and the phone was included, but part of that was like your 2 year contract that was paying off the cost of your phone, right? And then they
Yeah.
switched to this model where you'd pay like you weren't necessarily in a contract, but you'd lease your phone from the phone company for $26 a month, and your bill would basically be the same, right? Like, and now like it's kind of still that program, but if you had an iPhone, you want to upgrade to the newest iPhone, and you're talking 50 extra dollars a month or something. Like it's definitely a sticker shock if you're trying to kind of stay on that upgrade cycle and look at like what the cost is, because you're talking like, what 3 iPhones is like a car payment. You know what I mean? Like if you got a family, you got to get phones for all. It's crazy, and I think when people see that number, people that at one point were used to not paying for their phone, then got used to paying $30 a month for their phone, to see these numbers just jump and jump and jump at a rate that is not in line with kind of what they're used to. It's hard to sign off on that, So go ahead.
It's 750 million active iPhones worldwide, with 350 million of those in an upgrade window over the next 12 to 18 months. So they're looking at $130 billion in cash, in net cash.
So almost half of their phones are doing upgrade.
Yeah.
Let's see, what does T-Mobile charge for an iPhone?
Well, how did you buy your phone? Did you go through the carrier or did you go direct?
I went direct.
Okay, that's what I did too. So I went with like the Samsung financing. I bought the phone direct through Samsung. Essentially you get like a line of credit through the company, and it's the same. It's basically the same price, and the reason I did it because it was $50, maybe more cheaper than going through Verizon's upgrade, like going through the carrier. So I bought the phone from Samsung. They sent me a phone. I put my old phone in a box, sent it back, got refunded like $150-$200 for my old phone, which was crazy. And just make the same, kind of like $28 payment per month for 2 years kind of deal. So they keep the numbers and the duration pretty much the same as the carriers. But you get you get trade-in value.
I mean, I bought my last 2 phones outright. I mean, they're both Huawei's. They were like $300 and $400 respectively, like one after the other.
Yeah.
But they're fine. You know what I mean? When I think about that would be 10 months of a phone payment. You know what I mean? It's just like, all right, it's so easy to manage when you look at like what you pay over time for these other phones. It's just the math's so bad on what you end up paying for a cellular phone. It's crazy.
Oh, yeah. For sure. But looking at what stands out to me with this drop in price is those 4 other S&P 500 companies that you mentioned. You've got Microsoft, which is a software company. You've got Amazon, which is a web services and an e-commerce site. You've got Alphabet, which is essentially an advertising platform.
Yeah.
And then you got Berkshire Hathaway, which is a real estate and financial company. None of those companies actually make anything.
Yeah.
Apple's the only one that manufactures.
Yeah. So for sure. All those Microsoft, Amazon, and Alphabet all like dabble in production, but yes, you're correct.
Right,
their main source
of their business, where they're making most of their money is not through the hardware sales. Apple, the majority of their money is made off of iPhone sales, device sales. So if anything happens with that, and because they've been so rigid with the iOS, with the hardware, batteries. They've had some bad press with the phones bending, with the battery, the phone slowdown scandal and all that stuff. It doesn't take much for people to go, nah, I'm going to go someplace else. Where else are you going to go for your search engine? Where else are you going to go to buy that new pack of batteries? Where are you going to go to, log on to the internet? What operating system are you going to use?
And the way those companies like monetize the way that they make their money is so like secondhand, even Amazon, who you're directly making payments to for your product. It's like, well, I'm going to buy this anyway. You know what I mean? Like them taking their cut isn't really something you notice. You know what I mean? So it's like, where Apple's is so direct, you got to hand them that money, or you got to keep paying them. It's very different when you're kind of buying that hard product.
You're making a choice.
Yeah, you're making a choice.
It's just like GM starts making really crappy cars, and people stop buying the cars, so they shut down factories. That's it. They made a decision. Your product isn't good enough. Customers will make a decision, and you will not get money.
So you guys heard it here first. Bill has told us Apple is shutting down their factories.
They're closing them down.
Goodbye, down. Goodbye. China is falling apart.
Your iTunes account is getting shut down tomorrow.
Yeah, you better post on Facebook that some chainmail link about. Apple's I couldn't think of a good one. Yeah, Apple's done. If I share this, then I can't get sued or something. I don't know. Take that. I'm gonna remove that part. All right, but what do you got for us? What's your story after that sad Apple news?
Very sad. Well, we have happy news out of NVIDIA. Which had their keynote for CES 2019, and they have released the RTX 2060 GPU.
The 2060. This just happened moments ago, actually.
Moments ago. This is hot off the press, breaking news. You heard it here first. It will cost you just about $350.
Just about, almost.
Yeah, almost. Compared to the 2070, which is $500.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a good deal cheaper than the 2070, and it was literally just announced. So we don't have much besides what NVIDIA has in their little glossy presentation. But according to NVIDIA, it is going to be higher performing than the 1070 Ti.
Mm-hmm. That's what I heard.
And 60% faster than the 1060 that it is replacing, which is the card that I have.
Dang, you better upgrade.
60% faster.
Looks like you need to upgrade.
Damn.
Better upgrade.
So it claims, NVIDIA claims that it could run GTA 5 with ray tracing at 60 frames per second at high on 1440. Now, the funny part about that is that they do have the caveat that they're assuming you have a Core i9 processor.
That's pretty funny.
I saw that. I was like, you guys are such jackasses. Of course, I'm going to buy the budget card and have a freaking $500 processor coming along.
Yeah, who's that? The benchmark for?
Oh my
God, so dumb. That's funny. That's very NVIDIA.
Very NVIDIA, and even like the 1440 thing too. You're just like, if you're buying a 1060, you probably have a 1080 high refresh rate monitor.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking at some of the stuff they showed. I'm scrolling through.
I mean, we knew this was coming. Mm-hmm. It's not a surprise that they have a 2060.
I think the price point is pretty good.
The price point is actually pretty good. It's $100 more expensive than the 1060 was. In general, I think I got mine for like $260 or something. So it's like in the mid twos, upper twos.
But I think you'll probably see what like non-reference when these start coming out. You'll start seeing $300 ones.
Mm-hmm.
The 349 one will be the NVIDIA branded, reference board, 2-fan. Day of launch version, right? Then you'll start seeing the
chips, the
EVGAs and stuff will all start popping out. You'll start seeing them come down a little bit.
Yeah, so which is good. And so this is, what we talked about in the last episode about how expensive these GPUs are, and it's kind of been a bummer. This is a good price point, and the performance seems to be pretty high to the point where, if you're a 900 series or even a 10 series, but like an early adopter 10 series, for $350, you're going to see a huge bump.
Yeah, I'd say even if I was on a 1060 right now, which you are,
yeah,
I'd be like, hey, when they get down, if I start seeing a deal I like, maybe I'll scoop one up. Yeah, I would definitely be having that thought. I have a 1080 100%. Right now, and I'm like, starting to get, it's getting to a point where it's like, maybe I do need one of these 20 series.
Yeah. You've got the RTX in there, so you're kind of not to use the FP phrase, but future proofing to some extent some of the AAA title. I still don't think RTX is going to be I mean, that's a 2 year. We're 2 years out before that really becomes something that you might want to look into.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. During the keynote, they also talked about. I guess they're doing some OBS tie-in to make single PC streaming better on Nvidia cards. There weren't a lot of details, but that seemed pretty exciting. They're calling announcing OBS Pro quality broadcasting on single PC. So
For the 20 series cards?
I don't know if it's just going to be 20 series, right? I mean, I would assume that this is a 20 series keynote, but I think it's something that they could. I think if they better supported it and tied it in with OBS, they could definitely optimize that a bit, right?
Yeah.
Because I can tell you, even from the streaming setups with OBS and the way you have to hook into video sometimes, like if the video card was really like directly outputting that to your stream, it could definitely perform better. So that's pretty exciting. I like seeing the streaming news.
It's a good, yeah, I do too. It's a good start to 2020. I almost said 2016. It's a good start to 2019 though, because 2018 was so bad for PC hardware that this is actually a price point that I think is going to move some actual products and push gaming forward a little bit more, and that's awesome.
They're giving away,
even VR, VR capabilities in this. I mean, if it's faster than a 2070 Ti, it's going to be great in VR.
You get a free copy of Anthem or Battlefield 5 when you buy a 2060. I don't know about that.
Can I just take the cash?
I know. Have you seen Anthem yet? Is that a game you have any interest in?
I don't really have any interest in it, but I've been following the development a little bit, and it's another one of those. How much of what they're promising are they going to actually deliver?
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited in like a like you're excited to watch a fight way excited, right? Like I'm excited it could get ugly. I'm excited it could be cool. I'm excited. You know what I mean? Like I'm excited that it's so full of possibility, right? Like I think it's so rare that we have games that like you see trailers coming out for and it's like so divisive. There's so many people that are so into it and so many people that are shitting all over it. Like it's gonna be a story when that game comes out. So that part I'm excited about.
Yeah, it's definitely not gonna be like, hey, Anthem's out and it was good, and yeah.
Yeah, it's like it reminds me of when Destiny first launched. I don't know if you remember that era, but I remember those trailers were playing a lot, like the live action. Do you remember that?
Amazing.
Do you remember that commercial? What?
Oh yeah.
What song played? I gotta watch. I gotta pull this up. You're gonna hear the Destiny trailer. Because I'm trying to remember what song they played on the first Destiny. Yeah, Become Legend. Is that what it was? Official trailer from Destiny 2014. This might be really bad.
That was 4 years ago. Good lord.
Oh, that's E3. I know it is. It's crazy that it was 4 years ago. Oh yeah, this is it.
Well, now it's
This trailer is so good. It's so much better than the game was.
That's so sad.
Yeah. I feel a little Zeppelin. Come on. Sorry, I just had to see what it was. Could you hear?
Where's the song at?
You couldn't hear it on your end?
Not the song.
Here.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
This is such a good trailer. Like, I suggest if you're listening out there and you're a dork, YouTube Destiny Become Legend official trailer. This game looks so cool. I just sent it to Bill. This game looks so cool. Like, the game itself was alright, but the trailer looks so cool. I saw that trailer and bought a PS4 like immediately. That's so funny.
I mean, it was a console move.
Oh, it definitely was. And when I bought my PS4, I bought it off some guy like literally he had like back of the trunk PS4s. Like I was looking on Craigslist and some guy was selling them for $300. They were $400 at the time. And I met him at some laundromat in Koreatown. And I know. And he pulls up his car, and I was like, all right, I got the cash right here, but you mind if I open it first? And he's like, that's cool, man, as long as you got the cash, right? And I'm like, yeah, I'll buy it if there's a PS4 in there. And so I opened it up, and I'm like, it's not like you're going to make a fake PS4, so here's your money.
Oh, my God. Yeah, those just fell off the truck.
Yeah, it was brand new. I mean, it was brand new. Like, that's the thing. Like, you got to think of what it's worth. Like, some people be like, oh, what if it was broken or something? It's like, nobody is going to go around and find a bunch of PS4 shells, to like sell to make $300, right? Like,
it's probably easier to find new ones.
It's easier to find new ones, right, than to find fake ones. But yeah, I still use the same PS4 to this day.
That's awesome.
And there was a time I worried like the cops were gonna I was gonna get banned or something.
Well, luckily we don't have any cops that listen to this show, so you're safe. Your secret is safe.
Are you sure there's no cops listening to the show?
Pretty sure. If you're a cop, write to us at techyapodcast.com.
If you're a cop and you gotta tell us, that's the rules, alright? If you're a cop and we say, hey, are you a cop? You gotta tell us you're a cop.
You have to say that's true. Yeah.
So if you email us, techyapodcast@gmail.com with the subject line, I'm a cop, then you've done your due diligence. That's all I'm gonna say.
Then we know.
Yeah, and don't take my PS4. Alright, please. Pretty please.
It was legit. He just bought 10 PS4s and wanted to take $100 bath on each one of them. Just a nice guy.
So, are you going to buy an NVIDIA video card or what? A new one? The 2060?
We'll see. I honestly, I don't know. Everything's running pretty good right now. I don't have a need for anything bigger at the moment, but the fact that this does exist is probably going to be where I go. I'm probably going to stick with the 60 series and, just wait for a nice third-party card, maybe stick with MSI, and if it's in that $300 range, let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm probably more likely to get like an i7, because right now I have an i5. So I would rather, because I do stream and game on the same PC, I would rather have the extra cores right now than the GPU.
Yeah, I've really been thinking about upgrading my GPU.
Yeah.
And I kind of just did this like a year ago. But, yeah, I'm like, man, or something to really have someone's going to be roasting. It's going to be roasting. Making these streams happen. I know. It's hard, man. It's hard. I kind of got away from being a PC like hardware nerd. And since we started doing this podcast and all the streaming and we talked to all our New Egg Plays friends, it makes me want to be like a hardware nerd. One bit.
Yeah, it would be nice for videos to render quicker.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of would like that.
I would like that too.
But yeah, other than that, that was the only story that's come out so far from CES. Everything, it kind of really kicks off tomorrow.
Everything's about to happen, man.
Yeah, next week we're going to be telling you all about all of the fancy new big TVs and all the driverless cars and
refrigerators with displays.
Refrigerators, KitchenAid's new smart display. All kinds of fun stuff.
I bet you there's going to be a refrigerator with an Alexa in it. It's going to be a refrigerator with a Google Home. It's going to be a washing machine with a Google Home.
So stupid.
It's going to be just everything smart.
I wasn't joking. Like, KitchenAid has a smart speaker.
Do they have a smart mixer? Because if they don't, they will.
They freaking better.
Yeah, I know. It's so hard to get excited for CES. I feel like it's just not for me. But, all right, yeah, we can, let's call it a day there. I think we've said a lot. We checked in with Maria. I hope we can check in again. Maria, definitely reach back out and let us know how it went with the phone and how things are going with you, And if Dan's around, I'd love to hear from him too.
He's got to have some questions.
I'm sure he does. All right, I'm sure he does, and I'd love to hear him. And Bill, is there anything else you'd like to say before we go?
Thank you guys for listening. Again, we will read any and all emails that you send. So if you have any questions for Tony or myself, please email at techyeahpodcast@gmail.com. Thank you for listening. And if you know anybody that listens to podcasts, forward this, see if they like it. And if someone doesn't know what a podcast is, like my mom, like Julia, tell them what a podcast is. Whether it's our podcast or another one, I think they'll appreciate it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, with that, we're out. If you want to find me, my Twitch and Twitter are TonefaceKilla with the H at the end. And that's Twitch and Twitter. And Bill is Bill Forelli everywhere, right, Bill?
Everywhere.
Or on Instagram, is that Bill Forelli too?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Dang, it really is everywhere, huh?
It's all about branding, consistency.
All right, I'm thinking about changing my name. So if you got any cool name ideas for my Twitch and Twitter,
that's a good idea.
You can send those to me too, and we'll read them on here.
Yeah, if you have an idea for Tony's new Twitch and Twitter handle, email us. That's awesome.
I'd love to hear it.
Me too.
All right, love you guys. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Peace out. Tech yeah.
Tech yeah. Bye.